Hi, guys and girls. Welcome back to the Tennishackery podcast. This is the place where we discuss all things tennis, the brain game, as well as technology and how they relate to each other. My name is Tarun.
And I'm Soham.
Welcome again to Tennishackery.
First of all, we appreciate everybody who's watched our episode one, which was basically an
Yeah.
introduction and where we spoke about the journey that Tarun, myself, and Alex, who's not here, but a vital part of our team, have had and how they kind of relate to tennis and their experience in tennis and how Tennis Hackery formed. So
Yep.
we are very thankful for all the positive feedback that we have gotten, and it is only an incentive for us to grow bigger, get better, and put out better content. So, and of course, like Tarun will mention, please continue to follow us. It will only make us more excited to give you really good content.
Yep, indeed. Yep. Please follow us on all our socials. We are at Tennis Hackery on Instagram, on Facebook, on X, as well as on YouTube. Uh,
You must mention that Facebook is now called Meta.
Yep, Meta. Yes. Yes. And by the way, only old, if things are to be believed, only the old folks, the millennials use Facebook.
That's right.
Youngsters don't. They're not
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. And we are on the podcasting platforms. We are on Spotify as well. Again, at Tennis Hackery. We are working to get ourselves on other platforms as well. And we will keep you posted on how things are going. Our website is still not up. If you saw the first episode where we talked about, if you go to tennishackery.com, you will see a nice little piggy. It's still under constructions. Again, please follow us and subscribe.
It's on him. You always blame the IT guy,
Yep, yep,
and he's our technology expert. So no, but in all seriousness, we are working to put out something really fun and exciting
yep.
in terms of the aesthetics.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that in a few weeks we'll have a really good website out. So
Yeah,
do look forward to that.
yes, indeed. All right, now let's get to the order of business. Episode two is all about Soham's visit to the Indian Wells Masters in Southern California. So Soham has been a regular in the Bay Area. He volunteers. He used to volunteer at the Mubadala Masters, right? The
Yeah,
men's.
Masters in Bay Area, San Jose, which is women's.
Mhm.
Um, it's now no longer there, sadly. It's now the Washington City Open,
Yep.
which is, I think, for men's and women's.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
The good thing, though, is before it moved, it was, I think, WTA 250,
Right.
which got upgraded to WTA 500, so better players came and more points were at stake.
Yeah.
It's one of the first kind of tournaments in the US Open Series.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Yeah. You've been there multiple times. You've
I
volunteered.
volunteered like 3 or 4 years,
Wow.
and it was such a great experience, and we'll talk more about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this episode is more about the fan experience in these tournaments, watching the pros play. What can we learn from them? Watching them practice, watching them play, and what as we as coaches, what can we take from that and pass it on to the kids and basically to encourage them to watch more tennis and essentially to improve their game. So let's get started.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, Soham. So you have you went to Indian Wells. Is this your first time that you went to Indian Wells, or you were
Uh,
before?
I have actually been there before,
Okay.
about 2018, I believe.
Okay.
I went with quite a few friends
Mm-hmm.
from my alma mater, Berkeley,
Mm-hmm.
and I was fortunate to
Mm-hmm.
watch a whole day of tennis. Um, it was semifinals Saturday,
Okay.
and I also watched doubles. I watched the Bryan brothers against Isner and Sock, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think Isner and Sock won.
Right.
And I was fortunate enough to watch
Fed, nice.
Fed. To some, he's the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Fed versus Koric.
Okay.
Fed 1-3. And Del Potro, who I
Right.
actually like too, versus Raonic. Del Potro won in straight sets.
Nice.
And the final, actually, Del Potro won, I
Mm.
believe, in 3 sets. Fantastic event.
Yep.
And I
It
went
was.
back this year with slightly different focus, which we
Right.
can talk a little
Yes,
bit more
yes,
about.
yes. So uh, this is more about, we are going to talk more about what we as players, as coaches, and as fans can get out of it. What can we learn from the pro game? So with that as the focus, So Soham, so give us an overview of, I know you watched the pros, you went a lot on the practice courts, which by the way I would highly recommend. Uh, so the first thing that I would recommend is, of course, going on the final weekend is amazing experience. You get to, you have players who are in top form because they have come through the draw. But going on the opening weekend or even before that is amazing because you can get closer. Even the qualies, right? I believe you've been to the qualies too.
I've been to qualifiers
Mhm.
in at Mubadala Open in San Jose,
Right.
which I was talking about
Yeah.
for the WTA, and actually one of our friends' sister is on tour,
Yeah.
and hopefully we are able to bring her on board
No
for
promises. No.
no promises, right?
Yeah.
But she's a close. She is the sister of a good friend of ours, and she's currently playing pro, and she's doing really well.
Yep.
If you're watching, you know who you are.
Yeah.
So I've watched her in the qualifiers and great event. So in terms of Indian
Mhm.
Wells, the experience is great. Now, I previously when I went my first time, I went on the final weekend
Right.
of Indian Wells. This time, I actually went on the first weekend of
Yep.
Indian Wells with the intent to actually see more players
Yep.
practice and of course play.
Yep.
And I'm talking about the great thing about Indian Wells is
Mhm.
it's the best tournament voted
Yes.
outside of the four
After
Grand
the slams.
Slams,
Yes. Yes.
right?
The fifth slam. Yes. Yep.
It's called the Fifth Slam,
Yeah.
exactly, and it hosts both men's and women's, and it's I think 1,000 points,
Yes. It's
Master Series.
yes.
So it's great to see both men's and women's at the same time,
Right.
and I had the good fortune of watching a lot of the top players, namely Novak Djokovic. To some, he's the GOAT.
He's a hater actually, but Novak is the goat.
He does have the most number of slams, and I do
Yes.
like a lot of aspects about him.
Yep.
So I did see Novak practice.
Yep.
With Goran was there too.
Hmm.
I saw Carlitos Alcaraz practice.
Nice.
Vamos.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Daniil Medvedev practice.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Holger Rune practice. I saw Yannick Sinner practice. Really like him, by the way.
Yep. Yep.
Defending Australian Open champ. I saw Tsitsipas, Stefanos Tsitsipas practice. Um, and I'm sure I'm missing a few. I
Yeah.
think I saw a bit of Sasha
Okay.
Zverev,
Nice.
and I saw a few matches too.
Nice. Nice.
So
So, what stood out for you when you saw the pros, both on the ATP or WTA side practice?
um, one of the things which again, I was very fortunate to get really close up
Yeah, that's
proximity to the practice courts,
yes,
which, by the way, they're overflowing with people
yes.
and there aren't enough seats. So I was kind of telling one of the ushers
Mhm.
that, I wish they could expand the seating because a lot of people do want to see these pros,
Yes.
really close up,
Yep.
right? Um, so I had the fortune of seeing all these top ranked players
Mhm.
practice really close up. And one of the things I was particularly focused on
Mhm.
is the intensity in their practice,
Mhm.
which is actually very similar to the way they play the actual match,
Mm.
which is critical,
Yep.
right? Something that I tell my students when I coach that, don't take practices lightly. Practice the way you're going to play your matches,
Yep.
right? So it's the intensity, which includes excellent footwork, their preparation before and after the shot,
Mm.
right? Just the general balance, uh, you know, and just being ready, right?
Mm.
Always being on your toes. So the movement, the footwork, the anticipation, and generally, the amount of power that they generate,
Yeah. Easy
and
power.
it
Yeah.
it's it
Yeah.
it looks very effortless.
Yep. Yep.
So specifically, I
Mm.
wanna the example for me was I was actually watching Yannick Sinner.
Okay. And you were at the back or
I was right at the center,
okay? So
like
center you're
right
watching.
at the
Okay.
middle,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Middle of the court where I
Okay.
can watch a Sinner and his practice partner
Mm-hmm.
is same distance away, right? So net level,
Right. Mm-hmm.
right? And his coach is Darren Cahill,
Yes.
one of the best coaches
Yep.
out there. Also trained
Yes.
Andre Agassi. And the stuff that I saw, he seems so effortless. Forehand, backhand, and he generates so much power. It's like when we play as rec players,
He's a
it's
fiver, by the way. He's a fiver. And
it
yeah.
thank you.
I know there are different levels of the game, but yes.
Nothing compared to anywhere near even like challenger level
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
anything, right?
Yeah.
Um, I consider myself a rec player, but the um, the intensity, right? Um, it's so effortless. Like
Yeah.
I've already mentioned that
Yeah.
it really is.
Yeah.
And I was taking videos focused on their footwork because when I coach, one of the things that I definitely notice amongst a lot of students is their lazy footwork,
Yeah.
honestly. And that is something which is so important.
Yep.
And that's a function of like it helps in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Getting ready, your shot, your preparation, everything. So I
Absolutely.
really, really loved his technique.
Mhm.
It's very it's very clean.
Yep.
And I also got to see some of the serves, tremendous amount of power, just general rotation, just the spring from their
There.
feet.
Yes.
Everything was, I was able to capture them on video.
Yep.
And I've actually used that video to show to my students so they get a glimpse of how the pros actually play
Yeah.
and practice. And encouraging all budding tennis players who are young or not so young to really go out there to practice sessions and really, really pay attention to the players and the way that practice, the intensity that they practice with,
Right.
because I feel like there's a lot to learn. And I basically told all my students, you got to go, right? You
Yep.
got to go to Indian Wells. And I encourage a lot of my students
Yes.
previously to go to Mubadala Open
Yes.
because you get such a close up shot,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like even if you're sitting, like you were mentioning earlier, before our
Yeah.
episode started, that how even if you're sitting really far away,
Yep.
definitely use binoculars because you get a lot of value from
Yes.
just
Yeah.
like
Observing
close
the
up
footwork.
shots.
Yeah. And just to add on to what he said, uh, it may not be, if it's not possible for you guys to go and watch the pro opens, please do feel free to go and watch college players. So there are a lot of colleges in and around, the college tennis. Please go and watch the college players play. The ITA website has the schedules, and you can go to your home courts, watch these matches. You will see that uh, the college, the level of college tennis is a few levels below pro tennis, but you will see that these players, they have been trained, their techniques are clean, and there is a lot that budding players and students can get out of it.
I'm glad you brought that up
Yep.
because last year my buddy and I literally went to the Golden Gate Open, which
Yep.
was being hosted at Stanford,
Yeah.
and it was basically challenger level for
Yes.
both the women's and the men's.
Yes.
And I actually spent a few days there.
Mm.
There were not many people. I mean, the crowd kind of built up throughout the day,
Right.
but I used to go early in the morning
Mm.
to get, again, it's the close-up shots.
Mm.
It actually inspires a lot of my, and some of my students actually made it to being like ball girls or ball boys,
Yes. Yeah.
so they get an even more like live look
Yes.
while while they're on the court.
Yes.
uh, just it's the sheer amount of their athletic ability
Yeah.
is next level,
Yep.
honestly.
Yeah.
So that is something which is very inspiring. And trust me, after some of my students came back from these events, they got way more motivated. Like, I want to,
Yes.
train, I want to be fitter, I want to start playing more tournaments.
Yes.
It is very inspiring
Yes.
to see professional players play close up.
Yes. Completely agree.
Yeah.
All right. So that was the practice courts.
Yeah.
So let's move on to what you saw during the singles matches. We'll get to doubles too later. But so what stood out to you? Like, I mean, did you see some of the WTA matches or ATP?
I saw both. Primarily, I think I was able to get into a lot more men's
Okay.
than women's.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to balance it out
Right.
for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but we had ground pass tickets,
Mm-hmm.
great value,
Yeah.
$60 per person
Yes.
for the day,
Yep.
and you get access to all the practice courts and all the stadiums except the main stadium.
Yeah.
But honestly, always go first weekend. It's really good value, fantastic location. So yes,
Yeah.
so between going to the practice courts and also to some of the main stadium and the the lesser known stadium matches,
Right.
I was able to watch players like I watched Dimitrov play,
Mm.
uh,
Baby fed. Yeah.
Baby Fed,
Hmm.
great, that slice backhand,
Yeah.
the general movement, he's incredible. Like I'm surprised he's not won a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Like I always root for him. He's a nice guy. I like the guy. I really wish he does win a slam before he retires. I really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah.
I went with my dad and he really enjoyed Dimitrov's game,
Yeah.
So it was really good.
Yeah.
Again, what stood out, the crowd was electric. Um, just his ability to adapt.
Yeah.
When you're down,
Hmm.
what I see when the pro players are down, a lot of these talented players,
Right.
they're just able to fix a few things, adapt, problem solve, and just come back, and it's something very inspiring to me.
Nice.
But Dimitrov played a good match, and he won in straight sets. I was there till the end. Then I kind of hopped
Hmm.
to other courts. I saw Caroline Garcia.
Oh.
It was a pretty long three-set match. I think she came back to win in three. Again, I don't see, it's one should not, the higher ranked players
Mm.
sometimes they generally do not take the
Right.
lower ranked players for granted because,
Yes. Yes.
especially at a WTA level,
Yes.
I think there are way more upsets,
Yeah.
that I've seen.
Yeah.
And I saw that, some of these lower ranked players, they're taking sets off the higher ranked players in the WTA.
Right.
Men's not as much,
Yeah.
which is a very interesting thing.
Interesting. Okay.
So there's a little bit more, equal evenness in terms of ability, maybe.
Right.
But then I saw a match which was fun. I saw Fabio Fognini play
Nini. Okay.
Fognini, the Italian mafia,
Yeah.
play I think Sebastian Baez.
Okay.
Uh, Great match. Loved. There was very pro Fanini crowd
Hmm.
because they like kind of his eccentric
Yeah.
personality.
Yep.
He got literally. There was a point in the second set where he got um, warnings for ball abuse.
What about ball abuses?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly
Yeah.
right.
He probably hit it out.
It was fun watching
Yeah.
the guy. Like he is so talented.
Yeah.
I mean, he's beaten some of the top players.
Yeah. The 2015 Nadal versus
Oh
Fognini in the
yeah,
US Open. Oh, that was a crazy
it
match.
was. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw him. He didn't win against Baez. Baez is just such a solid Argentinian clay court guy,
Right.
just grinding, super athletic,
Hmm.
sliding all over the court. So I saw that. Then I watched a very good match between Shapovalov
Hmm.
and Musetti.
Oh, he's back. Chapo's back. Yep.
Chapo's back, and this was a match between two one-handed backhands.
Yeah.
That it looks great,
Yeah.
right? The one-handed backhand.
Yes.
So
And
the,
Shapovalov's one-handed is flat. There's no
correct,
topspin, right?
and it was a great match. It was down to the wire. The stadium was jam-packed,
Hmm.
right? It's so good to see
Hmm.
these outside courts being
Yeah.
jam-packed because people are getting appreciated. It's not just about the top 10 players in the world
Yeah.
and the main stadium players, right?
Yep.
These stadiums are literally like packed,
Yep.
right? Great match. Musetti pulled out the win. Chapo, I think, had some mental breakdown. He was up and he didn't end up winning. That was a great match to watch.
Okay.
A good three-set match.
Hmm.
Then I watched Vicky Azarenka. I think
Hmm.
she lost. Great player actually.
Right.
I missed watching Osaka because I actually didn't have access to the main stadium.
Hmm.
I really like Naomi.
Hmm.
But I must say, the evening session matches were really good. So I saw Casper Ruud.
Hmm.
Casper Ruud coming back to Indian Wells. He had a rough last year,
Hmm.
and he played a relatively unknown guy, up and coming newcomer,
Yeah.
and great quality match.
Hmm.
This was a match where I could tell that experience trumped sort of everything else.
Yeah. Raw athletic ability.
Raw athletic
Yeah.
ability,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like he used so. By the way, Casper Ruud is very
He's
athletic.
fast. So
I
fast on
did
his feet.
not,
Yeah.
I didn't realize
Hmm.
this until I actually saw him live.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Watching live
Yeah.
is
Yeah, watching in three dimensions in the
not the
stadium,
same.
it's completely different
Yeah,
experience.
3D, three like in the stadium
Yeah.
is like 10 times better than watching it on TV.
Yes.
And last but not least,
Mm.
the match of the day
Mm-hmm.
was an electric affair,
Mm-hmm.
which was full of unbelievable points,
Mm-hmm.
fine athletic plays between GOAT Guy Monfils
Mm-hmm.
and Hubert Hurkacz,
Oh,
who is top 10
yeah,
player.
gosh, yeah.
Monfils won the first set 6-love.
Yeah, I saw this match on TV. Yeah, yeah.
This
Yeah.
this match had everything, and I was so glad
Yeah.
that I stayed from first to the last point. It was like 10:30 p.m. or something,
Mm.
but it was jam packed.
Mm.
Everybody was rooting for Monfils
Mm.
because he's such a likable guy,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So great experience and
Oh, likable guy and a crazy athlete. The dead
unbelievable.
run shots. I mean, I've never
Oh,
seen anybody hit shots on the dead run
unbelievable
like that.
athletic ability.
Yeah.
So that's everything. And I forgot to mention, since I know you're going to ask me, so before you get into it,
Yeah.
I'm just going to say I only saw a little bit of dubs,
Yeah.
including practice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to enjoy doubles
Yeah.
more now,
Yeah.
but doubles is so much fun. I couldn't get into the court where Ben Shelton
Yeah.
was playing dubs. It was so packed.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see him. I really like Ben Shelton. And um, what I saw in practice and little bit of glimpses that I saw on the court was unbelievable communication,
Right.
coordination,
Yes.
agility, the speed at which they are running to the net, and general court
Yeah.
coverage.
As a team, yes.
As a team,
Yes.
it's unbelievable. Like we play USTA level, like
Yeah.
doubles,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, like 5-0 or even combo, 2 5-0s or 4-5 and 5-0. And there's a huge learning experience that we can take away from watching them. Generally, their positioning.
Yeah.
One thing I saw was a lot of people use Australian
Yeah.
than you expect.
Yeah.
It's a very, very interesting
Yeah.
and often used
Yeah.
strategic,
Yeah.
play.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Maybe now I'll start adopting it
Yeah.
in some of
Yeah.
my
It's
matches.
yeah, especially righties, right? From the ad court, Australian is amazing
Correct.
to do to protect the backhand of the server. Yeah.
And one other thing I would mention is it's okay sometimes for two players kind of to play from the back.
Yeah.
I've actually
Yeah.
seen this even at opens. There is this notion that
Right.
one person should be at the front always, one person back, and then the other person also goes up, and you want to
Yeah.
close in and shorten the court and everything. I have seen a lot of people, even pros, start from the back and both of them kind of move forward at
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
time. It's
Yes.
not a bad play.
Yep.
Guess what? That's how Kokonakis and Kyrgios
Curious.
won the Australian Open doubles.
Yes.
I mean, can you imagine
Yeah.
those two guys?
Yep. Yep. Incredible. 2 years back.
Unbelievable, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So that's the one thing. So I have like in on doubles. Uh, what I have from my experience, what I've seen is one up, one back. Uh, at the rec level works because both teams are doing it. Ideally, if both the players are up at the net, that's the best combination. They just set up the play to get to the net, or if you want to play completely defense, just go back and then work yourself way forward.
Yeah,
I think that's how the pros are looking at it. It looks like.
correct.
Yep.
And the final thing I will say about
Mm.
Indian Wells in general, besides the amazing experience, the great value for the money paid to watch, is my idol is Rafa Nadal,
Oh,
and I literally
yes.
went to see because it could be his last year. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
To me, he's just
I think
I
it's the
I,
goat for him. Yeah.
for me he's the goat
Yeah.
because of his personality, his behavior on court, and everything, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I was not able to see him because he practiced for a day. I heard that his practice went well, but he pulled out the same day, and I was really
Yeah.
disappointed. But I don't want to miss the opportunity because for me,
Yeah.
tennis isn't just about one person.
Yes.
I love Rafa, Vamos,
Hmm.
but there's so many other good players,
Yes.
and you can always learn
Yeah.
stuff from
Absolutely.
watching a variety of different players.
Yeah.
I will say that I am going to be in Paris
Hmm.
for the French Open trying to get tickets. That's one of the agenda,
Hmm.
and I really, really hope that I get to see Rafa in at Roland Garros
Yes.
because that would be my dream.
Yeah. You know, on that topic, please go ahead and watch the Served Tennis podcast by Roddick. His tribute to Rafa is one of the best I've heard. He actually mentioned that Rafa might be crawling on all fours, but he will still come and play the Roland Garros. It's one last,
I
one last
believe
time
that.
for him.
I
Yep.
believe
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
So,
really,
yeah.
it would be. I've seen Fed. I've seen Novak. My last wish,
Hmm.
and I was telling one of my friends that if I don't get to see him in Roland Garros, I hope I do.
Hmm.
I will probably end up someday at Mallorca Tennis Academy,
Yeah.
just to try to meet him or something. Or yeah, I mean, I love that guy. I mean, I really hope he can play a few tournaments
Yes.
before he calls it quits.
Yeah. Yeah. He's an amazing inspiration, a great role model. Yeah. For kids to emulate.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Is there anything else? What about the fan experience in general? Were there other things going on apart from the tennis, outside the tennis court?
I saw a lot of representatives, a lot of media,
Right.
a lot of people who are there because it's such easy access.
Yeah.
You're very close to the courts, um, and for me, by the way, the merchandise sales is
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
too. So great event. I did talk to quite a few people in general. I like to be friendly with folks, and I brought up Tennis Hackery,
Yeah.
and people are very excited um, to see what we bring to budding tennis players because they believe based on initial feedback that it is something of value where we are trying to address wholesome
Tennis.
tennis, which
Absolutely.
like Tarun has already mentioned at the beginning of the episode, is about the combination of technology, tennis fundamentals, the brain game, health, fitness, kind of
Yes.
everything, right? And they want to see what we have to bring to the table because not all academies necessarily address all these facets,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we are very excited to take all this gratitude, or maybe I can say inspiration from positive comments that we are getting that, hey, we are really looking forward to
Yeah.
what you guys have to bring to the table,
Yep.
um, to bring some good stuff that is genuinely going to help
Yep.
young
Absolutely.
or old tennis players of all ages
Yes.
improve their game and start really understanding tennis from a wider spectrum.
Yes. And you will also hear not just us and Alex, who's not here in this podcast, talking always. We are going to be planning to bring, experts, not just from tennis, but, other related fields, technology, will be it analytics or, the health side of things, fitness side of things, and, just to have a bigger discussion and just have a much better and a broader discourse that can help people improve their tennis.
Definitely stay tuned to our upcoming episodes because we are going to be talking about all these facets
Mm.
that make us, that formed us, like in terms of tennis hackery. And we want to be able to talk about a variety of topics, invite a lot of um, credible guests so that everybody gets a good um, understanding. Talking about the viewers
Yep.
about what tennis hackery is about.
Yep.
And definitely, like Tarun said, please follow us.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
want more followers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, we are on all the social platforms at Tennis Hackery. We are on Instagram, Meta. We are on X, which used to be Twitter. These episodes will be up on our YouTube channel again at Tennis Hackery. It will be also be on Spotify. Uh, and finally, I would like to give a big shout out to the PTR Foundation. I met the PTR Foundation folks at the Racket Conference in Florida at Saddlebrook Resort. This was 2024, this year, February. They do amazing non-profit work. It's not a for-profit work. I mean, it's a lot of grants, awards, and scholarships and stuff. Not just for tennis, for the juniors and other disadvantaged communities in the United States, but all of the world over. So we will definitely be featuring more content and mentions for the PTR Foundation um, in upcoming episodes. All right.
All
I
right.
think we are done
Yep.
with this episode. So please stay tuned. Thanks for listening/watching. Bye.
Adios.